Hello everyone, hope you're doing good. Today I want to a little bit talk about something very interesting, and that's modals and generally overlays in React. So imagine you want to have a modal, right? And then just something pops in and then shows a component or content, and then you can basically show or interact with the user. What happens is React modal is a library is used for this thing, one of the options. And how it works is not only this one, but generally in the ecosystem, is that you put a component like modal and then put your own content in it, and you have some props like this to handle what happens in there, and then you need to keep a state of openness, or is it visible, not shown, or all those things. So it's an idea generally goes through the React framework. I want to show you how did I solve this problem a little bit long term, because now imagine if you want like three modals, then what you're gonna do? Like you have to keep three states open, or if you wanted to depend one modal on the other one, open multiple ones, interact with the keyboard. And the projects I worked like for companies, I saw that these modals become copy pasted, and then there's like 5, 10 different type of modals, and you basically don't know what version to use. Like every time it's a little bit different. One thing I want to show you, if you go to Fireback address, so not here, I think it's Fireback. Yeah, and go to the react.js dashboard. So you might need to do a fake login. So it's just a demo. You can log in with anything, create any account, and then go in. Let's go 333. And basically we are in. In the sidebar, there is a section called overlays. And what happens is there is that you can see this drawers and modals, how they work. So in a very simple example, we are not doing this to keep a component and then use a state. Rather, we are just using something like a confirm operation on JavaScript. We open a drawer and then put the component we want in it. So I do open this, runs basically this code, and I put a div inside a drawer. And the same thing goes for modal. So we have a function called modal, and then opens a form inside of it. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about this thing, which is super interesting and a long-term solution, to see how this would be really helpful. Let's go to the dashboard screen. So I have this component in the dashboard. The source code of the Fireback project is inside the repository. You can go to github.com, Torabia, Fireback, just for the reference, because a lot of people don't follow the whole thing. So you can go to the modules, Fireback, code gen, React new, and basically when you create a new project, this part of the repository will be copied, a little bit modified, and then you can have that. So this React project is here. If you npm install it and then just run it with the mocks, as I did here, it would be doing its job. So make mock. So it goes to this folder and then does npm run start mock. Nevertheless, let's more focus on what our modal system works than other details. So I like to open the dashboard, let it come up, and we will create a button to confirm a modal. So let's say we want to ask two questions, and then if you confirm two things, an alert will show. So I will do an onClick here. Let's call it begin. And then I will be going here and then call this begin function. And I put an alert for now. Completed. So if you go to the dashboard, confirm a modal, we see already an alert to say confirm. But in the other times when we want to show any kind of popover, so a modal, a drawer, a bottom sheet, or anything else, what we can do is we go and say use overlay. So this overlay is a provider which kind of holds the overlays in a central place. So let me go a little bit top of this file and give you an idea, and then you can come back to this section of the video and look at it. So we create a context of overlay. Imagine you have 5 modals open on top of each other, and in a central place it holds them. So if you try to open a modal, it holds it for you in this context, and it does the rendering of the actual modal or overlay. And what happens is, roughly looking at the code, you open a overlay by giving a component and a parameters to it. It's going to open it, return a promise, and then do some kind of like close open functionality to you, give it to you, and then in the end sets the sheets. And when you're doing this provider, it's all gonna render in a top level, a global section of your code, for example, in your app.js. So I think if you go to overlay provider, we will see that it is like provided in our application outlet, which can be app.tsx of your code. Let's go to the like high level of using it. So what we need is let me see, open, how many functions we have in this? Okay, we have 3 functions: open drawer, open modal, open overlay. Open overlay is like a general thing, and open drawer and open modal are kind of optimized for that purpose. Let's say we want to open a modal and that's it. And instead of alert complete, I want to open a modal, and then I want to show, are you sure that that's it? And then result equals to if result dot I need to do dot promise, and then another result dot type equals to closed alert, you canceled or closed. And that's it for now. So when I do this, it says, are you sure? And it doesn't have any buttons or anything to it. We provide this overlay base modal component as a general template, which holds this modal, even though you could remove this whole thing or make it simpler. And then each time you're creating this, you have like a special element which will be rendered for general purposes or a specific purpose. And so let's go and test it. So if we close it, it says you canceled or closed. So you notice this component already became a modal. And now if I say, instead of open modal, open drawer, the same functionality would be opening a drawer. And that's very interesting because we just changed the function and we're using the same component to show it in another place. Now, technically, we could do a component. For example, I have a users list and I could show this component in a drawer instead. So I cancel it, okay, confirm modal, and then the users list already comes here. The second parameter here is about you giving some options. For example, direction. Sorry, my IntelliSense doesn't work on this because I don't know why this copilot thing came in, but you can give direction and then now it opens from the left side. Also, what you can do is, I believe, width or size, and then let's say 60% and save. And it should open a 60% like users in here. Now, although you could put any component in here, you notice that itself, the open drawer, is accepting a component which is an overlay instance. So what does that mean? Like, what is the purpose of it? So if you go and try to get the parameters here, you would see a couple of things. Let me check real quick. Workspace. I pause the video and come back. Yeah, sorry, my keyboard shortcut for that is Control Space on this VM. So if I do this, you see there are a couple of functions coming to this component. So this user list itself even could be passed directly, but it had to accept those kind of props to work meaningful. But now we can do this and make any component to become a modal by like managing result, reject, close, let's say resolve, params, data, and then like visible or set on before close. Now I want to go a little simple because you can go and create that yourself. I want to create a div and inside that put 3 buttons. I want to first do a button called on click close. Say close me. Another one is gonna reject me. And then another one says resolve me. And what happens with resolve is I want to put a number 100 in it. And you notice it throws an error because it's void at the moment, but this could become a number. So think about it this way. You open a dialog, you want to get a number out of it. So user enters his age. And we could do a little bit more fun with this. So instead of doing that, let's go and return it this way. And I want to have an state, the age, set age, and then say use state. The age is 0. And I want to have an input value age. Let's not even do that. Let's just have it because we are working on the input, right? So we are not working with a value, numeric value, the target dot value, then set age. Perfect. And then instead of 100, I want to return the age. Now you see we're opening this modal now, and it says close me, reject me, resolve me. Now you could create a component which resembles like buttons on the bottom, kind of having a title, beautiful, but this is the pure functionality discussion. What I want to do is when the modal being closed, like the result is finished, I want to make sure that I get the very good information about what happened. So let's go print the result, and then we want to catch it, and then we say error and the error. Cool. Um, that's it basically. And we're gonna go and open the console to see the result of this. And we open the modal, we say close. So there is a data null and the type of the confirmation is close. Now I want to go and type in like 3234 and then say resolve me. Means resolve basically means confirm, like close the dialog as expected, or you create a user in the database and then you return this user object back. Kind of along those lines, like nothing has failed, it's not canceled, but it's completed. Think about our promise. So you see that we have the data like 3234 coming back out of that modal. And now we have also reject, which it sends the rejected, and we could also provide some kind of reason for it as we saw here on the reject function. Now think about it as like how this could become so much cleaner with this approach if we had like hpicker and we would return like whole component there. And even I could do, instead of this, I could pass all these props directly to this one as the parameters coming, and the type of the hpicker would be overlay, overlay instance, no, overlay presentation type. Okay, not sure myself a little bit what it could be. Overlay, we can take a look at the component, overlay instance, T component, and then component props, something like this. And we would put this here, I hope, and a number. So you see now, like the params and data, we are not using it in this example. And instead of all that, we can just pass the hpicker in there. Let's go and test it. Yep, the hpicker works, resolve, and let's put anything in there, or maybe put number, make a refresh maybe, then that would be all to it. Yeah, so this 323 is down there. Now, let's say you wanted to combine two of them. Now, that's the part which gets interesting. Let's say you have opened this picker. For simplicity, I don't want to give it any option. And if the result dot data is bigger than 100, I want to again open a drawer, an hpicker, and like just chain like multiple levels as you could do in a promise. So I would do this, resolve, another time opened, resolve, finished. But if I now add two, a resolve, basically it already closes it. Now you get the idea what's going on here. So you can convert anything to become into an overlay either by accepting these props to make sure it reacts perfectly, or even accepting some part of it. So you can just use the resolve, and then this is like just a confirmation. Like you could say, just confirm me. And then instead of resolve, a confirm. And it could be a Boolean. And as you might feel, you could have a general purpose picker, which can be nested or whatever you want to do with it. Now, this is very interesting. I want you to take you to the examples and see how far this can go. So in this example, let me zoom a little bit. You see we are opening a drawer, putting a div inside, and that's it. So in this layout, we just don't have any control. This layout already has a drawer in it. You could create your own layouts and inject and write some code for it to accept other components in it. But it just shows you that it already opens it and there is nothing you can do. Now, similar to what we did, there is open from left. So you can send props to that specific component and it's going to open it up. This example shows you that you can open a dialog. So we created a form here and there is a text in it. So we can like type in anything. We hit OK. It gives the result and basically it closes. But if I type in alley, it easily opens the drawer. Now you see by this kind of chaining things together, we just avoided the usage of a state. We are not using the modal a lot, repeating this component. And a little bit general and further you will see that how it reduces the code in other aspects. And now in this example, we're opening like 4 modals on top of each other and I'm closing them by escape key. So because we are having a central place, we can say, okay, by pressing escape key, the last one which is open has to be closed. Yeah, so you can have a use effect in it. Basically, it's a component and it's gonna close this modal automatically after 3 seconds. Besides, you can access the modal from the outside. So if I open this drawer here, you see there is a return. Like it's not just a function. It returns a bunch of stuff that we can have a control over this dialog. By that, we need to access to this one. Like let's call it instance, const instance. And then you will have a bunch of things in it. Oh, sorry, we need to do this. This is for that. And then const instance. I want to show you the return things coming. So we can have a function to close. So we can open it and then outside of that modal, forcefully just close it. We will get an ID and which ID this modal has. So you can select it by JavaScript selector if needed. The ref object to that modal. Reject it, resolve it, or even update data from the outside, which we will see in a second in another example. A beautiful thing we can do is, so we can implement set on before close, and let's say you edited the form or anything, and then user tries to close it, then you can just make sure they confirm it. And of course, you can use the modal as well inside of it, like a confirmation, and just show that on top of a previous modal. And if the user confirms, the modal will be closed. Now, because we have kind of a clean structure, now we can define something called common overlays. And one of them is common dialogues that I have implemented for Fireback. So you want a confirm drawer, basically, a lot of times. User just confirms, you show a UI, they resolve it or cancel it or close it, basically, and that's it. And you will use it across your code by importing this confirm modal from the hook, pass the props, and then promise.then. There's a result, whatever, and continue the operation. So you don't have to repeat this modal from this React modal component all the time. There is another example here. You could have like setting the data from the outside. So you open a modal, but then some operation is happening. You want to pass the data to it. So in this example, if you access the data props on that component, which is similar to what we had in our age picker, which I deleted. So the data, and we could like set data, and then we could access this update data. We call it some object, then is accessible inside that component, as you see in current example that is being shown to you. And yeah, so you could open the confirm drawer, just user confirms, operation done. You can do a modal, confirm, and everything is in one single place. Regarding the code itself, a little bit you need to read these definitions because it's really helpful. Two types of drawers we have. Either it's a modal or a drawer. That's the usage needed here, but definitely you could have more types or anything. Even alert systems, notifications can use this one. So the previous notification can clear the after one, or after one clears the previous one. Because all is in a central place, you could assign a type to them, and if the same type or the same message, just increase a number, or like all those things you can do. And yeah, it just basically gets your code base very clean. And you can read further here. It doesn't need any libraries or anything. We just defining our common overlays, and then one for base modal, like overlay base modal, and then we are importing it inside the provider. And it could work on React and React Native, because all you need to do to use it in React Native is to delete these two lines, and instead of default valuing it, you will use overlay provider to pass the component, and it is gonna be like that, working for both apps. If you have two apps using the same code, or you want to use it in React Native, that's just two lines of code to be changed. I'm very happy that you followed this. I know it's a bit long video, I would say. I'm not sure. It's a half an hour. But believe me, this half an hour saves you a lot of time, like for your 10, 15, 20 years of career in React.js, creating models and all those things. You all the time go ahead and hit a blocker, and then you need to think about how we can solve this, how we can solve that. It's just one-time thing. You put some hooks in it, and it's usable. Thank you for your attention. Hope to see you on the next video or another time. See you.